Welcome to Inspired Cooking with Lana. I am a life coach who loves to cook, so thought I would combine the two and bring you good food and food for thought. So let's get started. So I wanted to pop in here and just make a quick side dish for Mother's Day. So Mother's Day is right around the corner, and this is super simple, but really just it elevates and it would make anyone feel special to have this side dish. And you can accompany most any meats, most any main dishes with this side dish, which is rose potatoes. So let's just get started with making rose potatoes. So one thing I would highly recommend is a mandolin. They're very affordable. You can get them, at any, Walmart, Target. You can find these pretty much anywhere. So, and then you want to set your level to where you want your potatoes to be fairly thin because you're going to roll them. So I'm going to start with a setting of 1/8, and we'll see that's pretty thin, which is what I want, because again we want to roll them. So we are just going to take a potato and we are going to start slicing for our rose potatoes. Let me see. Yeah, that's perfect. So it's pretty thin and flexible. So for Mother's Day, I kind of want to talk about my mom for a minute. In one of my episodes, I talk about the 5 love languages, and my mother's love language is words of praise. And I wish I had known that more in growing up. I think it would be very helpful to know your parents, and for your parents to know your children's love language. So, but with that said, my mom did something really special when it came to words of praise. And it's one thing to give a compliment. So I'm done with one potato. If they're broken, I'm not going to use them. I just want them to be completely whole. So there's a couple here that are broken, so I'm not going to use them. But the rest, I'm just going to throw into this bowl. And we'll start with the next potato. So again, one of the things that my mom did when it comes to words of praise, and I think this is just a really great way to acknowledge someone and give them a compliment, and that is that my mom wouldn't necessarily tell me directly something, but she would tell her friends when I was in listening distance. So when her friends came over, my mom would acknowledge, something good that I had done, or something about my personality that she, liked or admired. And she would talk about it to her friends when she probably knew that I was in hearing range. And I think that that's such a great way to compliment someone. She also did that with my dad, so she would say to us kids growing up, look at what your dad did. My dad pretty much can build anything, do anything, and Mom would acknowledge him to us, and when he was in the room. So I think that's a great gift to give when you're giving words of praise. So I just want to do a shout out and a thank you to my mom for that gift. So what are some of your favorite just either special memories or special gifts that your mom gave to you? This is a great time to be thinking about that, and I know it's also probably really hard for those of you who have either lost your mom or you don't have your mom currently, and I know that that's got to be super probably hard at Mother's Day, but they're always in our hearts. So it is a great time to just remember those special moments. It's also a great time to just remember the women in your life who are significant, who've really been influential in your life. I think this is a great time to also just remember those women. For me, I want to do a shout out to Kenny Markham Johnson, who in my life was very instrumental, and she was very nurturing and she was 20 years my senior. She is a very dear friend, and she was, she was very nurturing, but she was also a very powerful, kind, honest, just a great role model as far as just, so think about those women as well in your life on Mother's Day. So I'm just slicing away, and we're going to get to the next thing here, and we'll do that right now. And let's move on to creating the rose. So for that, I'm going to pull out some parchment paper. Okay, so I've got my parchment paper here and bacon. So everything is better with bacon, right? And for the bacon, you want the thin cut. You do not want thick cut bacon because you want the bacon to get crispy. So you do want thin strips of bacon. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take 2 slices, and we're just going to overlap them a bit. So I'm going to lay one down here on the parchment paper, and then I'm going to overlap. I would say I'm overlapping about 2 inches right here. So now I have a long, you can see, I have a long piece of bacon, and you want the bacon long, and there's a reason for that. Okay, so I'm going to move that aside, and I'm going to doctor up I should have done this first. So these are my thinly sliced potatoes. So what I'm going to add now is I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of melted butter. And 5 tablespoons really isn't that much for this much potatoes. And we're going to, I just want everything evenly coated, so I like to toss everything in the butter ahead of time just to make sure that it's all evenly coated. And then to this, we are going to add, this is called the blend. It's salt, pepper, and garlic. If you do not have the blend, you simply use salt, pepper, and garlic. So this just saves me a step, and by getting to, it's all together all at once. So salt, pepper, garlic, and I'm going to use Italian seasoning. And we're just going to give that a toss. Do a little bit more. Okay, so I've done it a couple of times. I just want to make sure that it's generously coated. And now I am going to add some Parmesan. So I'm going to add a little Parmesan now, probably 3 tablespoons. And then in the end, I might just top it off with a little more Parmesan. Can't go wrong with Parmesan. All right. Okay, so my potatoes are tossed. Now I'm going to come back to my bacon. And before I get started with my bacon, I want to grease a muffin tin. So I'm going to just grease that. Okay, so here we go. So the potatoes are seasoned with butter, salt, pepper, garlic, Italian seasoning, and Parmesan cheese. And now, they're nice and thinly diced. So we're going to start at the beginning of our bacon, and we are going to overlap the potatoes at least about a ½ inch. Let's go this way. So we're going maybe a ½ inch, and we're going for about the same size. You know, when you're slicing a potato, you're going to get some that are smaller and some that are bigger. So I'm just going for about the same size as I am layering. And that one's broken. I'm going to move this so you can see what I'm doing here at the end. Okay. So what you want to do, So I have them all overlapping. And then what you want to do is you want to start at one end, and you're going to roll the potato with the bacon. The bacon kind of acts as your placement holder. And you're going to keep rolling. And the reason why you want 2 pieces of bacon is because you want the potato to be wide enough to fit into the muffin tin. Okay, so now here is my rose potato. Can you see how that looks like a rose? And it's all wrapped individually with bacon. So what I'm going to do now is put it in the muffin tin and sit it down. And it fits perfectly when you have 2 pieces of bacon. If you just had 1 piece of bacon, it would be way too small for the muffin tin. So I'm going to keep going, and then we'll be ready to bake some roast potatoes. So roast potatoes, like I said, will go with pretty much any main dish that you decide to have. And it's so pretty and it feels so special, which I think is just, so it's something that I just wanted to share with you if you're looking for a great side dish to make for Mother's Day. So, and a gift idea that I have done for my mom and that I want to share with you in case it might be something if you're looking for a gift idea for Mother's Day is one year I did 52 basically cherished memories, and because my mother's love language is words of praise, I did either 52 cherished memories or words of praise, just compliments of things that I admire about my mom. And I decorated a box, but if you're not feeling crafty, you can just buy a really pretty decorative box. And I gave it to her, and I just said open 1 a week for a year. And it was she absolutely loved it, and I feel like she's read them multiple times in multiple different years. So it's really a gift that lasts. And you know, most of us, it's not about the gift as much as it is about just the thoughtfulness behind it. So I think that could be a really special gift for Mother's Day. Okay, so again, 2 pieces of bacon, we have it all laid out, and now I'm just going to kind of start tightly in the center, because this is going to be the center of your rose, and then you just keep rolling. You have to pick up the other piece of bacon. And there you go, our second rose potato that will go into our pan. So I'm going to keep rolling and get these into the oven, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. So I have 6 rose potatoes here, if you can see, that are going into the oven, but I just wanted to show you before I pop them in the oven, I am going to drizzle. So I had 5 tablespoons, and now we're just going to drizzle the rest, which is 3 tablespoons, into the rose potatoes. And now they are ready to bake at 400 degrees for between 45 minutes to an hour. So I'll keep an eye on it and let you know how long it takes. And fresh out of the oven are my rose potatoes. They cooked for about 45 minutes, but I do have something I want to share with you, and that is I would not add the butter. That last round of butter that I drizzled on the potatoes before I baked them. I've made these potatoes before, but I don't think I did that step before I baked them. I think I did that step after I baked them. So I just want to be clear to do that step after you bake them, to drizzle the extra butter, and not before, because I had a little grease fire going on in my stove. So anyway, I just think the butter was overflowing. So Note to self on that. But other than that, these are delicious bacon wrapped rose potatoes. So if you like this recipe, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my website for the recipe at inspiredcookingwithlana.com. Thanks for watching.